discover more about Disneyland Paris and the world of Frozen opening on March 29th. We want you all to have a great day. Take a little time to enjoy the view, and remember, just when you start to give up, remember, we're in it together. We really are. We are really in this together, and we'll get where we're going. We'll see you tomorrow.
This is ABC 7 News at Noon.
Thank you for joining us for ABC 7 News at Noon. I'm Doug Banks. Susan Farley is off today. Before we get to our top stories, let's first check in with meteorologist Devin Biggs. Devin?
All righty, happy Thursday afternoon. We have a small craft advisory that is posted until 7 p.m. this evening along the coast. We'll be watching for some active surf throughout the daytime period today as gusty winds pass through. Let's check out the radar and satellite. The snow is clearing out, so today we'll stay dry under a partly cloudy sky as we do move forward. Let's zoom things out. Nothing too crazy going on. Just a little bit of snowfall showing up on the radar, and that's about it. Anything major is farther down toward the south, and that will be leaving us alone. Futurecast moving forward. Look at this. It really clears us out. We'll be partly cloudy for the rest of the day. Later on tonight, it clears us out, and for tomorrow, not looking too bad either. Some clouds approaching from the north and west. As for the gusty winds, reaching up to 20 to 25 miles per hour at times, and the winds backing off a bit during the overnight period. And even for tomorrow, a little bit of wind, but nothing too ridiculous. But for today, okay, mid-30s, partly cloudy and breezy. West wind at around 25 miles per hour. Overnight, 3 degrees, mostly clear. Northwest wind at around 5 miles per hour. The hourly forecast moving forward today, partly cloudy, temperatures in the 30s, and then cooling off. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
Thank you, Devin, for that report. We'll see you later on the broadcast. Folks, first here on the broadcast, former gubernatorial candidate Elliott Cutler could spend years in prison. He's back in court Wednesday, accused of violating his bail 4 times in recent months. He is now facing motions to have his bail revoked. There were 3 total motions to revoke bail, all of which were filed in February, as well as a motion to revoke Cutler's probation. Cutler's attorney entered denials across the board for all the motions. Those motions stem from allegations that Cutler has violated his probation on multiple occasions. Most recently, when Maine State Police say they encountered him at a South Portland hotel and allegedly found him in possession of pornography. A district attorney requested that Cutler be in prison for another 39 months for violating his probation. A judge is expected to rule on that when he returns to court on April 8th. In the meantime, Cutler is being held without bail and expected to be transported to the Hancock County Jail. Closing arguments are expected today in Gary Brinson's murder trial. He's accused of killing his friend following a night of heavy drinking in December of 2024. During Wednesday's testimony, the jury heard from police who responded to the crime scene at a Union Street apartment in Bangor. According to the Bangor Daily News, they also heard police interviews with Brinson, who said he can't remember the fight with 64-year-old Lee Ruona. He said he had slapped his friend earlier in the day after Ruona stole something from him, but he doesn't remember anything about stabbing him. Both sides wrapped up their case Wednesday, and closing arguments are expected to be presented today. An Augusta man named a suspect in a 2024 death investigation made a court appearance in Knox County Superior Court yesterday in preparation for his trial that is set for next week. Jason Hewitt is charged with manslaughter in the death of 45-year-old Kyle McDougal of Waterboro in July of 2024 in the town of Cushing. Hewitt's pretrial and pre-jury motions were heard. Jury selection will begin Monday morning, and witnesses will be called later next week. In other news, President Trump's lengthy State of the Union address focused largely on the economy, but also recognized members of the military for heroic acts. However, the intense polarization we are seeing across the country was also on full display at the speech, but also evident as some members of Congress chose not to attend. That included most of Maine's delegation. Senator Susan Collins did attend, and we spoke with her about why she chose to do so.
I've always recognized it as a time when we can hear from the president of our country and understand what his priorities are, join in recognizing some outstanding Americans as we did last night. And I think that's important no matter what.
Two gubernatorial candidates engaged in a debate last night. Our Kelly Warren takes us to the debate between Democrat Troy Jackson and Republican Bobby Charles.
So, the first question.
Two gubernatorial frontrunners took each other on in a Wednesday night debate. Republican Bobby Charles.
I will cut taxes in this state, property taxes and income taxes. I will get the drug traffickers out of this state within 24 months. I will bring good addiction services into this state, and I will put our schools back on track.
And Democrat Troy Jackson.
We need to have quality, affordable nursing home care for elderly people. We need to have quality, affordable health care for children. I mean, this is something that's a priority, and I believe property tax reform and housing are things that, you know, are a really big deal for me.
The Blaine House hopefuls debated several controversial topics, including law enforcement, immigration, addiction, and affordability. While the disagreement between the two was often palpable.
So let me say, Troy is living down to all the expectations I had for him. This is literally just a mudsling. Ditto, yeah, this is a mudsling.
The candidates' closing arguments reflected a hope for overall political unity as primary polls draw closer.
We do have a great state. Yes, we have problems, but we can overcome these problems. We can, but we can't whenever we're divided like I think Bobby is doing right now. There's just no way. We have to come together.
But we're all Mainers, okay, at the end of the day. And I've spent a lot of time in the northern part of the state, and he's spent a lot of time in the southern part of the state, a lot of time in Augusta. My guess is we could probably agree on some things if we sat down and tried to do it, and that is what a governor needs to do.
The full debate was live streamed on Jackson's campaign YouTube channel. We'll have a link on our website, foxbangor.com. Callie Warren reporting for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Former Speaker of the Maine House and Democratic candidate for Governor Hannah Pingree has announced she has gathered enough signatures for Maine's gubernatorial race. Pingree was joined by supporters, volunteers, and local leaders at the state capitol yesterday as she delivered the required 2,000 signatures to the Secretary of State's office. She's been on the campaign trail for the last 8 months and collected over 3,000 signatures from registered Maine voters across 140 towns. Pingree recently rolled out a comprehensive health care plan that aims to make care more affordable, accessible, and accountable for Maine families.
I think the next governor needs to go big on issues like health care affordability and housing. We're a state in which young people want to stay in the state of Maine, but they can't afford to buy a house. They're looking for better paying jobs, and the next governor needs to know how to deliver.
Dr. Neerav Shah was the first Democratic candidate for governor to announce reaching this milestone. Republican candidate Robert Wessels also announced he submitted the required 2,000 signatures earlier this month. The deadline to turn in Democratic and Republican ballot petitions is March 16th. In other news, two organizations held a vigil in remembrance of a man who died while protesting U.S. support for the Gaza war. Activists hope to spread awareness to the community. Yesterday, the Maine chapter of Veterans for Peace and the Peace and Justice Center of Eastern Maine held a vigil on State Street in Bangor in remembrance of Aaron Bushnell. The day marked the second anniversary of his death. Bushnell set himself on fire in front of the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. in support of U.S. support for Israel in the Gaza war. Activists say while they don't advocate for self-immolation, they want to recognize his loss.
The United States government has led us into a lot of wars, all right? And people that just take whatever the government is saying at face value and don't step back and go, why are we actually doing this? Who does this benefit? It takes a community, it takes this type of pressure to make an impact.
Toothaker says the community appreciates activism, knowing that they are not alone in their concerns. He says it's important to raise awareness in an election year because it is a great time for citizens to make a difference. All right, folks, we'll have more local news after the break. Stay right here.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are paramount.
Are you experiencing foot pain? Comfort Shoes & More has a team of experts trained in podorthics to help you find relief. They offer tailored fittings, shoe modifications, customized orthotics, and much more for the ordinary or the hard-to-fit foot. Discover the latest in functional and fashionable footwear for men and women from today's top brands: Hoka, Brooks, Keen, Merrell, and Ariat. From running to walking, casual or dress, they have it all. Take the drive to Newport for a sit-in fit to find your perfect fit. You and your feet will be glad you did.
You provide it all. There's no challenge you can't take on, because you've already taken on everything. You've gone above and beyond. It feels like you've brought them together. It feels like your home is taken care of. It feels like you're all at the top of your game with high-speed, reliable, no stress, Fidium fiber internet.
It feels like Fidium.
Febreze. Coming home to Febreze Plug feels like the best welcome home ever. Because Febreze has a microchip to control scent release, so it's first day fresh for 50 days. And a refill light, so every welcome home is delightful.
Good luck to the Hamden girls basketball team in the championship from Carpet One. Leo & Sons Auto Repair in Hamden proudly congratulates the Hamden girls basketball team on reaching the state championships.
Do you own a business or nonprofit in the state of Maine? Annual reports can now be filed online. All business and nonprofit entities on file with the Secretary of State's office must file an annual report to maintain a good standing status. The annual filing deadline is June 1. Questions? Contact the Corporations Division at 207-624-7752 or cec.corporations@maine.gov. Brought to you by this station, the Maine Association of Broadcasters, and the Office of the Secretary of State.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. To the State House now, advocates are urging Maine lawmakers to support a bill that aims to safeguard access to reproductive and related care in Maine. But these efforts to increase funding for organizations like Planned Parenthood are drawing scrutiny from Republicans. Our Grace Blanchard has a story.
Reproductive health advocates are pushing for a bill that would secure $5 million in yearly state funding to support family planning services.
This bill is our opportunity and indeed our obligation to continue to defend and protect access to critical health care.
The Health and Human Services Committee heard public testimony on LD 335, which aims to sustain Maine's reproductive health services, protect patient access, and combat federal funding threats.
If we lose these healthcare providers, we lose preventative care that keeps Mainers healthy.
Maine Family Planning was recently forced to close primary care practices in Ellsworth, Presque Isle, and Holton due to cuts in Medicaid funding on the federal level. The bill's sponsor, Representative Amy Kuhn, says the funds she is seeking will not pay for abortions, but will ensure other services like cancer screenings and wellness exams are protected.
If health centers close, many of our most vulnerable constituents will have nowhere else to go, in part because these providers do not turn anyone away, regardless of insurance or ability to pay.
Some Republicans argued the funding should be used to address other critical needs.
That $5 million could really be used for other services that we desperately need in Maine. We need it to fund our veterans' homes. We need to fund our nursing homes.
However, advocates emphasize the funding is also vital for increasing staffing levels to address the HIV outbreak in Penobscot County, as Maine Family Planning has conducted over 400 HIV tests in Bangor alone.
We are a very small team attempting to address a massive public health crisis. As providers, we need more support and more resources to ensure the health of our state.
In Augusta, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
A report on Maine's waste generation was a focus in the State House yesterday, with representatives saying a change needs to be made soon. Wednesday, the Committee on Environment and Natural Resources discussed the reports on Maine's waste generation and disposal capacity for 2023 and 2024. The report found that the state is producing more waste than there is room for, and the state needs to consider other options for disposal.
We are relying on
2 landfills to handle 2/3 of Maine's waste. So I want that to really sink in, because we're relying on 2 facilities to handle all the waste for the state. And I think the key thing we need to think about is maybe we need to diversify, maybe we need to build in some more redundancies, because if any of these entities shut down, then what?
Miller says she wants the committee to consider shortening the waste license process and investing in new technology and infrastructure when discussing alternative waste disposal options for the state. The committee voted unanimously to move the proposal forward as a bill to be reviewed next week. In other news, students at Husson University did their part to add to the blood donation stock for the Red Cross with the spring blood drive. Husson radio station WHSN sponsors 2 drives a year, one in the fall semester and then one in the spring. Plenty of students showed up to donate. WHSN's manager says these drives are a great way to get students thinking about giving back to the community and making them lifelong donors.
If we can get them to donate as a freshman, they come back their second semester of their freshman year, they come back in their sophomore year, their junior year, and they start recruiting friends. And we hope that this continues so that they start going to their local blood donor center. If they go home for the summer, if they're not from the Bangor area, find where your Red Cross is and donate there.
Nason says to date, they've collected over 900 units of blood. All right, folks, after the break, we'll take a look outside the state at some national stories. We'll be right back.
I got hurt by a big truck. Why did I call the twos? Because life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. We got a client who broke multiple bones in a commercial vehicle accident, $700,000. Call the twos. We win for you.
Tired of worrying whether your credit will hold you back from getting a car? At Down East Credit Union, we believe everyone deserves reliable transportation, even with less than perfect credit. Let us guide you every step of the way. If your credit score is under 670 or you've had setbacks like bankruptcy or repossession, that doesn't mean you're out of options. We'll help you get pre-approved, guide you through car shopping, and work with you on a plan to rebuild your credit. Reach out to Down East Credit Union today. Let's get you on the road confidently.
Washington County Community College is proud to cheer on the Machias boys basketball team as they head to the state championships. Your hard work, heart, and hustle inspire our entire community. We're behind you every step of the way. Play strong, play smart, and go Bulldogs.
A sharp pain in his chest. He knew it was his heart, but 2 hours from the big city hospital could tragically mean the end. But it wasn't. Thanks to Senator Susan Collins' tireless fight for Maine's rural hospitals. Because of Senator Collins' work, his local hospital had recently received up-to-date diagnostic equipment and upgraded facilities, all paid for with new federal funding. Lives are being saved. Call and thank our Senator Susan Collins for delivering this lifeline for Maine.
The University of Maine Finish Strong Adult Degree Completion Program proudly congratulates the Machias boys basketball team on heading to the state tournament. Go Bulldogs! Finish strong!
After high school, I went to college in upstate New York, but then got involved with life and family. When I first thought about going back to school, it seemed really intimidating. One of the great things about an online program is that you can combine studying as part of your day. The flexibility is really helpful.
Most business problems start with one thing: unreliable technology. Digital Brains monitors, protects, and maintains your entire IT environment, keeping everything running flawlessly. When your technology works for you, your business starts thriving. Faster service, happier clients, more productivity, less stress. Clients don't wait, neither should you. Contact Digital Brains today for your free technology assessment. Digital Brains, we help people feel free.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We now go to the deadly incidents in the waters off of Cuba. Cuban troops killed 4 people and wounded 6 others when a Florida-registered speedboat entered Cuban waters. ABC's Martha Raditz has the latest.
This morning, new details in the deadly confrontation between a Florida-registered speedboat and Cuban border troops. 4 killed and 6 injured on board that U.S. vessel in a gunfight off Cuba's coast. Cuban officials claiming 10 armed men intending to enter the country for terroristic purposes violated its territorial waters, reaching within 1 nautical mile of the El Pino Channel. According to the Cuban Ministry of Interior, a Cuban border guard patrol boat approached the U.S. vessel to identify those on board when the speedboat crew opened fire, injuring the Cuban commander. The troops then returning fire. Cuban officials say the individuals were armed with assault rifles, handguns, Molotov cocktails, bulletproof vests, and camouflage uniforms. Before these allegations emerged, Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying diplomats are working to gather more information.
The information that's out there is information that's been provided by the Cubans. We are going to verify that information independently and reach our own conclusions.
It comes at a time of heightened tensions between the U.S. and Cuba, President Trump threatening to impose tariffs on any country that provides Cuba with oil, leading to an energy crisis in the country. And in January, the U.S. capturing Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, a key Cuban ally.
Tensions are very high in Cuba because the U.S. has shut off that 60% of the daily required oil Cuba needs to keep the lights on. And the White House has said that they are looking for regime change in Havana.
Martha Raddatz, ABC News, Washington.
The United States and Iran continue their talks in Geneva, Switzerland over nuclear negotiations. The third round lasted about 3 hours Thursday before the American delegation departed. President Donald Trump was warned sending military strikes to Iran if the regime does not finalize a deal over its nuclear program. The U.S. military has also ramped up its aircraft and warships in the Middle East. The Omani foreign minister says the two sides are exchanging creative and positive ideas. Oman, who is mediating the negotiations, said it received, quote, views and proposals, end quote, from Iran and is working to convey Iran's perspective to the United States. Following hours of indirect negotiations, the sides took a break, and they are expected to resume discussions later on today. Well, with spring break just weeks away, Americans planning trips to Mexico are on high alert after recent violence in some popular tourist destinations. ABC's Matt Rivers has the latest.
This morning, with spring break starting in just a few weeks, safety concerns are top of mind for American travelers. After the killing of a cartel leader sparked mass unrest across Mexico, security officials now ramping up their efforts to keep tourists safe. As we saw firsthand, joining Mexican Marines on patrol in Cancun.
So the government has stepped up heavily armed patrols just like this one as a show of force after what happened earlier this week. They say things are safe here, but they also know the threat from organized crime is real, hence the heavy weapons.
From the streets to the beaches, Mexican Marines, National Guard, police, all heavily armed, out in force on the sand, with some 50,000 American tourists per day set to arrive here in the coming weeks. But inside here is what the tourists don't see.
So this is kind of like the nerve center of your operations here.
The Cancun Emergency Command Center, all 3,600 plus security cameras pumping in live feeds citywide.
If I'm a tourist right now and I'm a little scared to come to Mexico after what happened this week, what would you tell me? ¿Qué me dirías?
Estamos completamente en paz.
He says everything is calm here. I guarantee that tourists can come here and enjoy their vacations in peace. Violence quickly escalating across the country earlier this week after a Mexican military operation killed one of the country's top cartel leaders. Criminal groups responding with arson and vandalism. Cars and buildings lit ablaze in city streets. American tourists forced to shelter in place. Closed airports leaving U.S. citizens stranded, unable to get out. But even as things are largely back to normal, some with upcoming trips to Mexico, like Ben Eisenhart, rethinking.
We're trying to make sound decisions for our family, for their safety, but we also, we're trying to live too.
Experts say that in light of recent events, travel to Mexico doesn't have to be out of the question, but tourists should consider multiple factors before they go.
We want you to be looking at these regions over time, figuring out what the local security trends are, and then also look at your contingency planning. Just find out what your plan is if something goes wrong.
Matt Rivers, ABC News.
All right, folks, after the break, Devin Biggs has your full 5-day forecast. We'll be right back.
You're driving down the road, and out of nowhere, boom! You're hurt in a car accident. Now you've got expensive medical bills, lost earnings, and you've got to deal with that insurance company. The problems just keep piling up. When you call the twos, I'll handle all of those problems. All you have to do is get better while I work to get you paid. Hurt in a car accident? I'm on top of it. I'm your go-to guy.
Call 222-2222.
ABC 7, Fox 22. The place we call home, telling Maine stories wherever you roam. From sunrise shores to forests of pine, hard work, strong hearts, values that shine. From old towns to harbors, back roads to ocean blue. Neighbors helping neighbors in all that we do. Through storms and clear skies, day after day, we're here with the stories that matter in Maine. From mountains to sea, standing strong and true. This is Maine, this is home on ABC 7, Fox 22.
Welcome back. Here's your full forecast with Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center. Now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. That small craft advisory is up until 7 p.m. this evening along the coast as we're monitoring for active surf until about that time frame. And as we check that out, it is increasing a bit at around 3 to 4 feet, while further off towards the north and east, the contours are picking up on that at this moment in time. Now, farther out towards sea at around 5 to 9 feet at this moment in time, according to the buoys. But meanwhile, again, the snow is clearing out. We're done with that, and we'll be under a partly cloudy sky for the rest of the day. So we're looking pretty good out there as we do move forward. Now, meanwhile, as this all continues, the track off to the north and east, a little bit of snow in the northeast, a bigger system to the south, that's leaving us alone. So we're looking pretty good moving forward. So as this clears out of here, we'll have to wait until about the weekend or so before we get another system approaching. There it is right there. There's some rain and snow chances through Saturday, and that's about it. Some gusty winds will also be a thing there. So overall for today, again, nothing too ridiculous. We just have some mid-30s on the way. We'll be partly cloudy, still breezy out there at times. Gusty winds up to 20 to even 25 miles per hour will be common. But overnight, temperatures cool off. High pressure moves in. We'll be under a mostly clear sky with that northwest breeze at about 5 miles per hour. And then we move ahead towards tomorrow. Temperature is not bad. They rebound nicely. Lower 30s, partly cloudy. You may get a breeze at times out of the southwest at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Some higher gusts will not be out of the question. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center. And Saturday, we do have that next area, low pressure passing through. It will give us a chance for rain and snow showers, and temperatures get a little bit of a boost. They'll be in the low 40s, but then we're back in the upper 20s for your Sunday, and we'll have a chance for snow showers, but then 21 degrees coming up for your Monday under a mostly sunny sky.
Good to know, Devin. Thank you for that report. A library in Unity is launching something that provides its people with more than just a good book. Here's that story. At the Unity Public Library, there's things you can check out that can't be found within the pages of one of its approximately 12,000 books, like an iron, a ukulele, or snowshoes. It's called a library of things.
Many libraries are doing it.
It works just like any book off the shelf.
We put a barcode on the thing, librarian checks it out, it goes out the door, we know exactly where it is. If it's overdue, we send you a little email. You can search for those things in the catalog that's at our website.
With around 30 items, Unity's Library of Things is currently in its
very beginning stages.
But a newly built storage shed will be put out back in May, which will hopefully change things.
It's at that time when we'll start really gathering by donation and purchase.
By then, they hope to have around 500 items, ranging from can openers to walkie-talkies and more essential things.
Power outage is certainly a reality here, and we've seen other libraries of things that really cater to that in more disaster-prone areas.
When Unity College closed its campus during the pandemic, it took with it the only library in town. But when Unity Public Library opened 2 years later, it suddenly became a bookworms hub for around 6,000 people across 6 towns. Now they're looking to provide more than just a good read.
We're not a wealthy area with a huge tax base. Giving people something that they can use and borrow instead of having to buy seems like a very valuable service to our area. We're all about figuring out how can the library be the most useful to our people.
In Unity, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News. And finally here, there was a disruption on the New York State Thruway Monday morning, at least for drivers near Buffalo. That's because 2 cows made their way onto the roadway. The Thruway Authority encouraged people to seek alternate routes. The cows were eventually moved and corralled, and the scene was cleared. Sorry, it was too easy. All right, folks, that's all for ABC 7 News at Noon. Thank you for watching. I'm Doug Banks. We'll see you this evening on ABC 7 News at 6. Take care.
Dedication, teamwork, and passion has driven your team to the state championships. Now it's time to cheer them on. Coastal Auto Parts has what you need to get to the big game. Good luck to all the teams.
Next Jeopardy, a champ closing in on $50,000.
Tell us about your childhood home, the house that Ernest Hemingway once lived in.
Wow. Will he be the author of a third win?
Good luck to all 3 of you.
Only on ABC 7.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.